Dead Rock Chapter 28 is officially out, and this was a pretty good chapter. Some really nice action sequences between Lip and God, and this was honestly a very tense section of the story as we're leaving the Underworld as soon as we got here, unfortunately. But despite that, I am curious to see what's gonna happen moving forward. And we got some pretty interesting piece of news. Apparently, Mashima is already planning his next weekly manga, so we'll probably hear an announcement before the end of the year. So my guess, Dead Rock probably has another 1 to 2 years left, depending on how Mashima wants to flesh this out even more, because this was supposed to be super short originally, but he just kept going anyway. So I'm curious to see what his new manga will be, and how this will affect Dead Rock's quality, as while I have been also enjoying 100 Years Quest for Fairy Tail, there have been a lot of things that I did not like about it, and my recent reviews kind of portray that, despite the immense potential of what could happen going forward. But either way, I am excited because if it's a new work by Mashima, he's probably going to start it off really fun and interesting, most likely, so I'm excited for that, and you'll bet my ass I'll probably cover it when that starts releasing. But enough about that. It's about time we jump into the review, but before we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And if you want to see even more of me, I have a podcast and a second channel. My podcast is called Shonen Pulse. It's on the Panel Focus YouTube channel where me, Nox, Yatogami, and Papa Trophy talk about 9 different manga from 3 different magazines. It's a lot of fun. We discuss a lot in depth with all the stuff we cover there. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. Join the discussion. The link to that will be in the description down below. And my second channel, which is more of a passion project of mine, is GW Comics, where I cover, well, comic books. I'm mainly focusing a bit on DC right now, but I'll probably expand a bit further as I read more comics. But link to that will also be in the description down below. But with that long intro out of the way, let's jump right into the chapter. So chapter 28 of Dead Rock, titled Sensei. And the cover image is of Saru on his black cloud. So, yeah, he is Sun Wukong, at least connected to Sun Wukong in some way. But, either way, pretty interesting. The chapter starts off directly from chapter 27, where Hein shows up as he was around in the Underworld as he saved Yakuto from falling to the depths and being erased from existence. Saru is surprised that Hein is alive, but, Setsuna says, well, we're in the Underworld, man, we're dead. But Hein says that makes 2 times that he saved Yakuto right now, and Yakuto's glad that he's seen him again. Hein says that it's time for them to head towards the gate as he makes an ice bridge using his powers as they all climb over it. Setsuna is kind of like, wait, he's fire, I am ice. I'm a fox, and he's a dog. Ain't we like oil and water then? Maybe she's having a crush, and she's starting to have a crush on Hein right now, which, look, Setsuna, he has an effect on the ladies. If Kuga were still around, he would continuously get jealous once again. That would be pretty funny. But either way, they begin to head towards the gate for reincarnation, all while the Underworld is beginning to get erased by God, or should I say by his real name, Alfred, as we see him beginning to cause massive explosions, destroying the Underworld as he cackles maniacally. But Lip appears behind him, telling him to not destroy the Underworld any more than he already has. This is the place for souls of the dead to rest. He then punches Alfred into the ground with immense force, but he jumps right out, flying right towards Lip, saying, because of this place, people don't fear death, and if they don't fear death, they have no faith. Reincarnation violates the sanctity of life. But Lip just says, I don't want to hear about life from someone who massacres people. Fair. But God says that I'll destroy this place that belittles life. But Lip says, which one of us is really belittling life, Alfred? As the two of them clash fists again, with God just taking steps on Lip's body to punch him right in the face, destroying his head. Saying, I'm glad your body's so enormous, makes it more satisfying to burst it apart. But as he thinks he's won, a strange tube appears from the side of Lip's body, and it turns into a fist and punches God into the air, and he then falls and slams into a mountainside, with Lip regenerating, saying, don't tell me you forgot. I'm the God who governs life and death. And with Alfred getting up, he is bleeding. Lip dealt a really massive blow to him, which is a really big thing to see, because considering you have two literal deities boxing right now. All while Lip is having his paper people just begin to just engulf Alfred in an attempt to hold down his movements. As Lip just says, of course I'm not going to die if I govern life and death. As all the paper people explode with a massive explosion to be seen from the distance by Yakuto and the rest of the group. As they're wondering if Lip is really that strong, with Hein saying yes, he's the god of the Underworld after all. And they're wondering if they can actually beat Alfred, the principal, but Hein says that he's been training with Lip for the past few months. But because I was alive, I died so pathetically. I want to hone my skills and reincarnate so I can be useful to Class F. That's been my goal here, with Yakuto smiling. With Setsuna just smugly saying, when I get reincarnated, can I be in Class F too? With Saru saying, yeah, that ain't enough for me to decide. But it sounds like you've misunderstood. You won't come back to life if you go through that portal. Lip said we'd reincarnate, as what Yakuto said. And Setsuna's like, so what? Are we gonna like turn into cats or something once we go in through there, or some stuff like that? But the truth is, they don't really know, and they might not. It might even be harder for them to go back to the demon realm, because yeah, they're gonna be reincarnated into the human world. They're most likely gonna turn into humans, like once they reincarnate. And we still don't know the full extent of what this reincarnation means. Are they gonna start life all over again? Will they be scattered? Will they be born in the same place or area? Will they even have their full memories to begin with in their powers? We don't know. Granted, half the gate is open with what they have, so who knows? It might cost something else. But Yakuto looks over at the paper people from Lip as they all turn black with these sashes around, seemingly with runes on them, as they begin to lunge towards Yakuto and the group. As it seems with the Underworld in such disarray and bad shape, they view Yakuto and the group as enemies, and so they have no choice but to fight them, with Yakuto, Hein, and Setsuna breaking them apart, burning them, slicing them, and Saru joining in as well. Despite, in the 2-page spread, we just see the students just unleash on these guys, which is a really cool 2-page spread. But it seems that they're being faced with an endless swarm of these things, and so they're just gonna have to run to the portal, fighting as much as they can. But back to the Battle of Gods, Alfred gets back up, says that this is actually pretty good, as he jumps up in the air in a glowing light, saying fighting ain't fun unless it's against someone like the god of the Underworld, and he says it twice, as he jumps up to try and land a massive blow on Lip. But he just says that won't work on me, but Alfred just punches him and makes him burst apart once more, as he then begins to regenerate. As Lip unleashes in a really cool double-page spread, a massive lightning attack on Alfred, making him crash into the ground once more. And I just like in this 2-page spread, he actually has this very maniacal smile on him as he's unleashing it. But Alfred is still conscious, saying, there's something you've got wrong. As Alfred gets back on his feet, he says gods aren't immortal. As we then begin to see, all of the paper folk that are populating the Underworld for Lip begin to disappear and get destroyed, shocking Lip. As Alfred, making a hand sign, says, if everyone who believes in you disappears, you'll lose your power. As all of them begin to disappear, Lip is in shock, as not only is his power getting drained with the people inhabiting the Underworld being destroyed by Alfred, he begins to ask if this person really is Alfred, the person he once knew. As then, Alfred makes Lip explode, with him saying, you're no god anymore. As just like that, the Lord of the Underworld and the god of life and death is killed by Alfred, someone who thinks he is the quote-unquote true god of this world. And with Lip gone, the Underworld begins to crumble even quicker, as the path to the portal is now broken as well, with the added problem being that no one can use their powers at all. And it seems that since the Underworld's falling apart, and now that the person governing it is gone, it's seemingly he was the one allowing them to be able to use their powers as just souls, seemingly. So now, with a huge chasm between them and the gate, they're seemingly stuck. as the world continues to crumble around him as Alfred continues erasing the Underworld. Before we continue with what happens next, I do like the fight we had with Alfred and Lip. It was really, really cool with a giant enemy fighting against someone so small, someone taking advantage of the size to actually land big hits. But since the guy literally governs life and death, he can't really die in this area. And so, it seems that deities like Lip have the same weakness, to an extent, as Alfred, as God, as apparently faith is what gives these deities their power, and it keeps them seemingly immortal and undying. So, once Alfred destroyed all the quote-unquote inhabitants of this world, Lip lost his power. He was no longer truly the god of the Underworld, and so he was free to kill him in one singular blow, erasing him from existence, and now can just erase the realm that he created with no issues. And that is fascinating, as it has been stated in the previous chapter and early on in the series that there were mentions of other gods of this universe, and seemingly God killed them all. So it's very possible that he got more people to believe and have faith in him to weaken the others so that they were, well, killable. And that is an insane revelation for the deities of this universe, considering that right now he seems to be the only one left in existence, since the person in charge of death and, life and reincarnation is gone now. So that is crazy. But back to the chapter, everyone's wondering what they're going to do because they're basically stuck on a crumbling ledge, basically about to get erased from existence, their souls and their whole beings. But Saru, thinking quick, gets the students to get up in a line, and he takes his staff, saying, "I'm a mean, violent teacher, just looking at you lot has made me want to hit ya." As in a 2-page spread, he takes a swing with his staff and knocks all 3 of them to the other side of the gateway, as now they're standing right in front of the gate of reincarnation, with Saru staying behind. With Saru saying, "It's your time now, kids. Nothing makes a teacher happier than seeing the students leave the nest." The 3 of them are very hesitant to go, but Saru keeps insisting, with Hind taking Saru's advice, grabbing Yakuto, as he pulls him and Setsuna through the gate, with Saru smiling as with Yakuto calling his name as he's dragged through the portal, with Saru's final words as the Underworld and himself begin to cease to exist. That's it for the Underworld. Don't die out there, kids. As the chapter ends. Well, again, I would have preferred the Underworld to be its own separate mini-arc, and not just, 2 chapters and such. I do appreciate what we got here, because not only do we get to see a glimpse of what 2 literal gods look like, we get to see the antagonist of the story take actual damage for the first time ever, and some extra bit of potentially anticipated lore for the other deities of the universe in terms of how faith is also tied to their powers as well. So it might not just be tied to Alfred, but also other deities of this universe, and that is very, very interesting, and I'm really happy to see that. It sucks that Saru is seemingly just full-on dead and erased from existence now that the Underworld is gone and seemingly his soul is erased as well. I would have loved to see more of him, but I can understand why we kind of took him away. He is the sensei. You gotta have the sensei have the noble sacrifice to give the next generation the time and ability to grow stronger and come back to avenge him and, the world and stuff like that. I would have loved to see more of him. Probably would have made this, death scene hit more, but it is what it is. Either way, Hein, Setsuna, and Yakuto are through the gate of reincarnation, and next chapter we will most likely see what that actually means. Are they going to be fully human? Will they retain their memories and abilities? Are they going to start over life from scratch? Or will they just be looking like themselves, but human? Who knows? Either way, I'm excited to find out. But what do you guys think of this chapter? Leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comments section down below. And what's more, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. With all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.